Hello and welcome to the Free Bin Podcast, a podcast at the Toledo Public Library. I'm Sophia.
I'm Harrison.
And I'm Cindy.
And today's podcast is about the Salem witch trial. Ooh, very apropos for Halloween. But first, we've got some news. Some new news. Okay, so first we've got Knit and Stitch. That's coming up on November 4th. So join us on the first and third Tuesday of every month from 12 to 2 p.m. Bring any craft project. Anything. Could be crochet, could be knitting, could be, felt. Who knows? Bring something, come hang out with us. It'll be really fun. And then all month long, we have a cozy blind date with a book. So stop by, grab a book. It has the genre, it has the themes, and it's got a cozy packet of tea waiting for you to come pick it up.
They're fantastically wrapped.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You did a good job, Cindy.
Very nice.
I kept worrying you could see through the wrapping, but I think I solved it. So
Yeah, you did a good job.
Yeah.
That was it looks good.
I don't think you can peek.
And then next weekend we have Silent Movie Night, November 8th at 6 p.m. So we're screening Our Hospitality from 1923, accompanied by a live score from Barbara Lapine. So come on down.
It's always a good time.
Yes. And same day, we have for teens and kids, boba tea and origami. So November 8th from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Stop by. Actually, sign up or get on the wait list because we're going to have fresh boba tea. And I want to make sure I have enough for everybody. We're going to sip on our boba tea and we're going to do some origami. So come hang with us. Mm-hmm.
Lots going on.
So much. There's more, but
There is more coming up in November, and there's a couple that you will need to sign up for. So be sure that you come in and get a brochure so you're aware of those.
Mm-hmm. Or check the library website. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So with that, we have our beverage.
Our beverage is a Parrot brand mango juice drink with pulp. I picked this up from the food fair across the street. This is not refrigerated. I did put it in the fridge for a few minutes before the podcast, but I am going against the recommendation to chill and shake well before serving. I am going to shake it.
Please shake it.
It's a little warm, but you know what? Fresh mango off the tree, also usually a little warm, right? It's natural. Okay. Ooh, there we go.
Is it carbonated?
It is not.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Just sealed well. Oh, it's orange, yellow.
Oh, it's thick. It's yellow and orange. It's clumpy.
This is so great.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I am unsure.
Smells good.
Either of you ever had one of these before?
No.
Never
Never
in my
either.
whole life. I love mangoes.
It smells really good.
Unsure.
Man, that
But
is
I don't know, the clumps
thick
are
cup.
kind of off-putting.
I'm going to close my eyes.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Ready?
1, 2, 3, salute. No.
I like the taste. Don't like the texture.
No.
It's clumpy. Maybe with enough ice and a straw. But it tastes good.
It tastes so good. I love mangoes so much. The texture is wrong.
It really is like,
If you can filter it.
if you could strain it through a sock or something.
Cheesecloth.
Yeah.
Cheesecloth, not socks.
Yeah, cheesecloth. It is less like a drink and more just like a canned fruit that has been thinly
Chopped up.
diced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can get pineapple, pineapple tidbits. This is like mango tidbits.
Yeah, or like just the canned peaches run through a blender for a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, except not a smoothie.
Mango.
It's not a smoothie, folks. Don't be fooled.
Like pureed mangoes, but they forgot to puree the mango.
They just chopped it.
Just chopped it up and put it in syrup and
But it's not. It's not a bad taste. It's just a bad texture.
Yeah, texture's rough, but it does taste like mangoes, and that's always good.
Those are yummy in my tummy.
Yeah,
I've had enough.
Had enough?
Yeah. Just filtering it through your teeth is hard enough. It's like hard work, and I don't want my drinks to be hard work.
It tastes really good. I love mango so much, and I'm sad.
You need to
I'm
take
sorry
it home
my
and
mangoes
puree
made you sad.
Put it in the smoothie with some, in your ice and smoothie. It would be good as a smoothie.
Yeah. There we go. Turn it around. I got cashew yogurt from Trader Joe's. And it tastes really good. So now I'm going to put that with this mango juice and make a smoothie. And it'll taste so good. Yeah. There we go. Turn around. Joy.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yes.
There you go.
Silver lining. Mango lining.
Yeah.
Or something. It's good to have joy prior to this podcast.
Because it's not.
Podcast is a bit grim.
It's a bit grim.
Before we get started, to take a moment and I'm going to say some names.
Okay.
Clefule, Brimstone, Cabbage. Despondence, Clumpet. Sarah Burrowton. These are just a few of the fake Puritan names that I was coming up with while Sophia and Cindy were diligently researching this topic. So I'll be taking a back seat for this episode since I took point on the last one.
Okay, thanks. Okie dokie. So I'm going to give a brief overview and then we'll move on from there.
Okay.
So the Salem witchcraft events began in late February 1692 and lasted through April 1693. At least 25 people died. 19 were executed by hanging. 1 was tortured to death, and at least 5 died in jail due to harsh conditions. Over 160 people were accused of witchcraft. Most were jailed, and many were deprived of property and legal rights. The accused persons lived in the town of Salem in Salem Village, which is now Danvers, and in 24 other towns in eastern Massachusetts Bay Colony. And nearly 50 people confessed to witchcraft, mostly to save themselves from immediate trial. Hundreds of other people in the Bay Colony were caught up in the legal proceedings of the trials. And in October of 1692, Governor William Phips ended the special witchcraft court in Salem, which we'll cover more why later. But accusations soon abated and eventually stopped. And in January, the new Superior Court of Judicature? How do you say it?
I'm looking for the word. Oh, yeah. I believe you. Judicature. Is that right? Cindy, have you
Here
seen
we
that
go.
one? Okay.
We're going to go with that. Began to try the remaining cases and eventually cleared the jails. After the Salem trials, no one was convicted of witchcraft in New England. During the Salem trials, more people were accused and executed than in all of the previous witchcraft trials in New England. So,
Okay.
that is our brief overview, and then we're going to do a deep dive.
Yes.
Ready?
So my part of this was to go back, and because this happened in the Puritan colony of Massachusetts, it actually started back in 1620. And there was a huge migration of immigrants who came from England to the Massachusetts Bay Colony between 1630 and 1642, between 13,000 and 21,000 immigrants to the colonies. The Puritans left England primarily due to religious persecution, but also for economic reasons as well. England was in religious turmoil in the early 17th century. The religious climate was hostile and threatening, especially towards religious nonconformists like the Puritans. The Puritans were a sect of religious dissidents who felt that the Church of England was too closely associated with the Catholic religion and needed to be reformed. But there were two different kinds of Puritans at that time. There were the separatists and the non-separatists. And the non-separatist Puritans really wanted to remain in the church and reform it from within. The separatist Puritans felt the church was too corrupt to reform and instead wanted to separate from it. And though it was for religious persecution that many left, there was also a financial reason. The groups were in part funded by companies who wished to have trade with the colonies. Dorchester Company is one of them, and they would pay for their passage, and they would provide them with tools and the products that they needed to start cultivating the land, but then they would trade fish and all of those things, so that company then would have a foothold in the colony. Mm-hmm. So the Great Migration was from 1620 to 1642, and the Plymouth colony, these are the Mayflower we're talking about, people on the Mayflower, settled in Massachusetts in that primary colony. In 1623, they started to establish planter colonies, and these were where they would send people to different places, but they were established for financial reasons. So it wasn't like they were breaking off from the Puritan religion. It was that they were like, oh, we've kind of got a lot of fishermen here. Let's go over here and fish these waters, or let's go this way and fish. And so they would plant colonies. One of them is the Gloucester settlement, but it failed in 1626, and so they migrated to the Salem area. Mm-hmm. Although the planter colonies were established as business ventures, Reverend John White from the Cape Ann settlement wanted the settlements to be a place of refuge from the persecution in England by King Charles I. The king had a Catholic wife, and he favored the Catholic religion. The persecution of the dissenters of the Catholic religion was harsh, and it kicked off the Great Migration that started in 1630. That's when the bulk of them came. In 12 years, you saw 21,000 people emigrate. Thank you, to the colonies in the States. Charles I had named William Laud to be the Archbishop, and his persecution drove England and Scotland to the brink of revolt. So Archbishop Laud hated anything that was not associated with the Catholic Church, and he really persecuted anybody. It was any non-Catholic, but the Puritans, they were the ones who took a good chunk of that. I thought it was interesting that his persecution drove those Scottish lairds to be ready to fight.
I went down a little bit into the rabbit hole of the English Civil War in preparing for this, and it really, at a certain point, does resemble the wiki for the Mad Max movies at a certain point, because you have the royalists and the roundheads and the diggers and the levelers and the ranters, and you have all these disparate, wildly different groups, all, either breaking off, trying to do their own things, all persecuting each other. And so you had Cromwell, take over, and you had the Commonwealth for a certain amount of time, and then that switched back the other way. So there was a lot of blood on a lot of different people's hands.
Oh, yeah. Like any civil war.
And so the narrative is going to change depending on who's telling the story, because there was a lot of different people to point fingers at. And if there was like the great humongous in there at some point, I would not be surprised. Gasoline.
So there was, in all of this, there's the religious persecution piece, but there was a component of economic growth, and England is not immune to wanting to grow.
Really?
Right? No.
Did they have an empire at some point?
And colonies and colonization. And
are they
imperialists? So John Winthrop, who was a leader of the Massachusetts Bay Colony, which is now Boston, for those of you people who might not know, like I did not know that the Massachusetts Bay, it didn't click with me, is now Boston, went with the Crown's permission to the New World, not only to found the religious community, but also to further the cause of England in the Atlantic commercial world. So it opened up trade routes and new people to trade with, and it became part of that economic growth. It ended in 1642 because a new parliament took hold. There was enough chaos, I think, that Charles I kind of went out of favor or died. I can't remember which. it's called the Long Parliament. It took away a lot of the monarchy's power by shifting the power to now the parliamentary system. The king had a lot less power than they used to have from then on, and the outbreak of that English Civil War that Harrison was talking about. So that whole information I just gave you was found on the Great Puritan Migration, the History of Massachusetts blog that I looked at. So here we've got this colony of people that has now grown because the witch trials really didn't start to happen until 1692. So this is a colony that has now grown and is prosperous for the most part. And like Sophia said, there was the Massachusetts Bay area. That's where Salem was located. And so I'm going to turn that over to her.
Can I jump in and talk about Matthew Hopkins for a second?
Yes.
Oh, sure.
Just as a bridge to getting. Do you have Matthew Hopkins in yours?
Nope.
Notes.
Nope.
I don't want to jump on anybody.
No.
But in this context of the English Civil War, there's an odd, horrible little sideshow going on in there that is super, super relevant to the witch trials that would happen on this side of the Atlantic. There was a weird guy named Matthew Hopkins. He was born somewhere around 1620. We're not sure. He died in 1647. And during the turmoil of the English Civil War, he declared himself to be the Witchfinder General appointed by Parliament, which was not true. So he was kind of loosely aligned with the Cromwell's faction against the Royalists. He at least kind of operated with their tacit permission. But this guy, he was probably around 24 when this started. He died of pleurisy by the time he was 28. And
cosmic karma.
Yeah, perhaps. And he would go from town to town through East Anglia and subject mostly women to a series of tests to see if they were witches, which involved stripping them naked, shaving them publicly, and sticking pins, basically, like an ice pick type tool, into them, searching for the devil's mark.
How dare get your hands off me.
Yeah. So, make of that what you will. This definitely seems bad.
Yeah, we can all agree on that.
Yes. He and his colleague John Stern, who was another witchfinder at this period, definitely seems like there was some stuff going on that they found an opportunity to do for their own reasons, money being one of them, and given the kinds of things they were seeking to do to people, perhaps some, not to speculate too much, but it definitely seems like this is something this guy wanted to do, and he found a justification to do this. Yeah, is my take on it. His methods of investigating witchcraft did draw inspiration from the demonology of King James I, which I believe we have a copy of.
We do.
You can check out.
Yeah.
And Hopkins wrote a book called The Discovery of Witches, which became another key text in this tradition of witch finding. So that's just a little, sorry to jump into the middle of the conversation here, but just provides a bit of a bridge between the English Civil War and some of this witch hunting fervor.
Right.
To kind of give a little more context, the Civil War that was in the American colonies, those people were displaced, and they placed a strain on Salem's resources, which aggravated the existing rivalry between families with ties to the wealth of the port of Salem and those who still depended on agriculture. Controversy also brewed over the Reverend Samuel Parris, who became Salem's village's first ordained minister in 1689. and quickly gained a reputation for his rigid ways and greedy nature. The Puritan villagers believed all the quarreling was the work of the devil. So, with that being said, we're going to go over a timeline or a chronology, I should say, of the Salem witch trial. We won't go over the whole thing, but I will hit some key points of the Salem witch trial. If I can grab my papers. Here we go. Okay. Starting in January 1692, the Reverend Samuel Parris of Salem Village, his daughter, Elizabeth Betty Parris, she fell ill, soon followed by his 11-year-old niece, Abigail Williams. So it's January 1692. After a month of fasting, prayer, and home remedies, Betty and Abigail have not improved. The girls are examined by a doctor who pronounces their alarming behavior to be caused by bewitchment. In February, following the directions given to them by their neighbor Mary Sibley, Tituba and John Indian, who were both enslaved people working in the household of Samuel Parris, prepare a witch cake. This act is an attempt at a counter magic. And so basically, I won't go into the details because it's a little gross. But
Yeah, it's gross. Trust me, guys.
It is. So the thought was that this could undo the harm, or this could harm the witch responsible for hurting the children. And at the same time, two more children, 12-year-old Ann Putnam Jr. and 17-year-old Elizabeth Hubbard, I cannot speak today, are the next to become afflicted with this mysterious illness. And the girls report terrible attacks from invisible specters and apparitions. A few days later, on February 29th, the girls named 3 women and they allege these are the witches who are harming them by invisible means. And so warrants are issued for the arrests of Sarah Good, Sarah Osborne, and Tituba, who is the enslaved person working in the house of Samuel Parris. On March 1st, these 3 who were charged are examined in the meeting house in Salem Village by the magistrates John Haythorne and Jonathan Corwin. So although Sarah Good and Sarah Osborne maintain their innocence, under extreme pressure, Tituba confesses. She implicates Sarah Good and Sarah Osborne, and she tells the magistrates there are more witches, though she is unsure of their identities. This is in the span of 2 months.
Wow.
Which is really crazy. So eventually, later in March, another person is accused. This person, her name is Rebecca Nurse. And at the end of March, she's examined before the same magistrates, John Haythorne and Jonathan Corwin. Though she maintains her innocence, the afflicted witnesses, alleged afflicted witnesses, were enough for the magistrates to hold her for trial. And then she was 71 years old, this Rebecca Nurse. She was sent to Salem jail after her trial. And on May 10th, Sarah Osborne died in prison in Boston. She was the first casualty of the Salem witch trials. And on May 27th of that same year, Governor Phipps approves the creation of a special court, the Court of Oyer and Terminer, meant to hear and to determine. This court will try the witchcraft cases. So then, at the end of May of that year, the minister, Cotton Mather, offers advice regarding the trial of witches. And so initially he cautions against the use of spectral evidence, which is the appearance of invisible apparitions only the afflicted can see. But eventually he concedes that the court's procedure should be determined by the magistrate's good judgment, which turned out to be not good, to put it mildly. So then in July, Rebecca Nurse, Susanna Martin, Elizabeth Howe, Sarah Good, and Sarah Wilds are executed on Proctor's Ledge. And when Sarah Good ascends the gallows, Reverend Nicholas Noyes encourages her to confess and save her soul. And in response, she angrily replies, "You are a liar. I am no more a witch than you are a wizard. And if you take my life, God will give you blood to drink." Just want to take a moment. That was a lot.
That's a strong statement.
That probably didn't win her any friends.
Well, Well, she was
But good for her.
Yes,
Yeah.
for standing up for herself.
That's right.
And September 22nd, Martha Corey, Margaret Scott, Mary Eastie, Alice Parker, and Pooty, I'm so sorry if I messed up your name, Wilmot Red, Samuel Wardwell, and Mary Parker are hanged. And this is the last date of execution during the Salem witch trials. So in October, Boston minister Increase Mather, father of Cotton Mather, addresses a meeting of ministers in Cambridge to warn against reliance on spectral evidence. Mather writes, "It were better that 10 suspected witches should escape than one innocent person should be condemned." So at the end of October, with the public opinion turning against the trials, Governor Phipps dissolves the court of Oyer and Terminer. December 16th, in response to the numerous individuals accused of witchcraft still languishing in jail, the General Court determines that the Massachusetts Superior Court will meet for a special session on January 3rd, 1693, to oversee the remaining cases. Governor Phipps decrees this new court will no longer accept spectral evidence. On March 10th of 1693, Lydia Dustin died in jail, and although she was cleared of her original witchcraft charges, she could not come up with the money to pay her jail fees, and she died in jail awaiting her release. So a few years after this was over, in April 1696, Samuel Parris stepped down as the minister of Salem Village. And a year after that, in January 1697, the Massachusetts General Court ordered a day of public fasting and prayer in atonement for errors made by the colony, including the witchcraft trials. On this day, 12 of the jurors of the Court of Oyer and Terminer signed a statement of apology for their role in the witch trials. In addition, Samuel Sewall, who served as a magistrate in 1692, stands before his congregation while his minister reads a prepared statement aloud. In this declaration, Sewall acknowledges his feelings of shame for his role in the witchcraft trials and asks God to pardon his sins.
So it's interesting because I did read a little bit about the spectral evidence, because a couple times you said that's kind of what it turned on, was that spectral evidence should be no longer a way of accusing someone, which... Yeah. And as I understood it, spectral evidence was like the declaration that little imps are bothering me, or my skin feels prickly, or something like that. Yeah. It was that more things that you can't prove.
Yeah, exactly.
Demon said she killed my goat.
Pretty much, yeah.
She's a witch.
So
it was a form of legal evidence based upon the testimony of those who claimed to have experienced visions.
Right. So it was really just my word against, a young girl or somebody saying, well, that person, gave me the side eye. They must be a witch.
And also it seems like from the start, in the example of Tituba and the witch cake, which you don't want to eat.
No.
Am I reading that situation right? Where it was sort of initially kind of something she was doing to try to do a folk remedy for protection that then got used as
evidence against her. Yeah. I think there's an agreement that the story of the trials has become synonymous with paranoia and injustice, and it was fueled by xenophobia, religious extremism, and long-brewing social tensions. So all of those things combined really fueled the hysteria that happened. So yes. I think you're right.
Yes. And a couple of other things happened too at the end of it. And do you want me to?
Oh, yeah.
So like Sophia said, there were public apologies. There was a declaration of acknowledgement that, we were wrong. Mm-hmm. There was the General Court in 1702 declared that the trials had been unlawful, which is what I find that from that declaration we get a lot of changes coming much further down the line, but kind of starts here. The Ann Putman Jr., who was one of the accusers early on, confesses her role in that. They exonerated 22 of the 33 who had been convicted. And then they paid restitution, which is kind of well, here you go. We have some money.
We murdered your family.
Yeah, we're real sorry. It was 600
Sorry,
pounds
guys.
to the families of the victims. That's the equivalent of about $164,000 US now.
Like nothing.
Well, but back then, that would have been like whoever was paying the restitution would have been like, oh, that's generous. But either way, it was like it's really not helping. But thank you.
No.
So another interesting thing, so they, in 1957, which is kind of interesting because it's kind of at the height of the Red Scare, in the 1950s with Joseph McCarthy, the state of Massachusetts formally apologized for the trials, made it a formal thing, but it was not until 2001 when the last of the 11 convicted were fully exonerated. So it took them like how many years?
Wow.
Long time to right that wrong. The abuses of the Salem witch trials would contribute to the changes in U.S. court procedures, playing a role in the advent of the guarantee to a right of legal representation, which none of these people had. They had no one representing them. They were just brought before the court, and that was it. Mm-hmm. The right to cross-examine one's accusers. They were never given the opportunity to cross-examine or to question the accuser. And the presumption of innocence rather than guilt. So there was such a presumption of these people are guilty. We're just going through the motions. Mm-hmm. And now we have that basic assumption that you are innocent until you're proven guilty. So I thought that was really interesting because that was not something I learned when I studied this in school. Mm-hmm. I didn't learn about the ramifications of it so much further down the line. Yeah. That our court system, because of the injustice that happened in Salem in 1692 or whatever, or 97, that now our courts are set up in a very different way.
Yeah, hundreds of years later.
Yeah. So, but you did mention mass hysteria. Do we want to talk about mass hysteria?
Before we get
yeah, because you have other stuff too.
I want to talk about just how unfair. I'm going to read the indictment and the warrant for Martha Corey, both of which are very light on any provable facts of being a witch. Are you ready?
Ready.
This is the indictment. The jurors for our sovereign lord and lady, the king and queen, presents that Martha Corey, wife of Giles Corey of Salem, husbandsman, the 21st day of March in the 4th year of the reign of our sovereign lord and lady William and Mary, by the grace of God of England, Scotland, France, and Ireland, king and queen, 3 defenders of the faith, and divers in other days and times as well before as after certain detestable arts called witchcraft and sorceries, wickedly and feloniously hath used, practiced, and exercised at and within the township of Salem in the county of Essex, forced in upon and against one Elizabeth Hubbard.
Oh, okay.
Of Salem, single woman, by which said wicked arts that said Elizabeth Hubbard, the 21st day of March in the year above, and diverse other days and times as well before, as after was, and is tortured, afflicted, pined, consumed, and tormented, and also for sundry other acts of witchcraft by said Martha Corey, committed and done before and since that time against the peace of our sovereign lord and lady, the king and queen, their crown and dignity, and against the form of the statute in the case made and provided. And then it gives a list of witnesses. But there's nothing of substance in the indictment. It just says she's a witch. She was a witch, and she was a witch against this person, and she's accused, and that's it. The end.
And you've got the warrant, too?
I have the warrant. Are you ready?
Hopefully
it's not as hard. It's pretty much the same. Very lacking in substance and evidence. Here's the warrant for Martha Corey's arrest. There being complaint this day made before us by Edward Putnam and Henry Kenny Yeoman, both of Salem Village, against Martha Corey, the wife of Giles Corey of Salem, Farms, for suspicion of having committed sundry acts of witchcraft and thereby done so much hurt and injury unto the bodies of Anne Putnam, the wife of Thomas Putnam of Salem Village Yeoman, and Anna Putnam, the daughter of Thomas Putnam and Marcy Lewis, single woman living in Putnam's family. Also, Abigail Williams, one of Mr. Paris, his family, and Elizabeth Hubert, Dr. Griggs, his maid. You are therefore in their majesty's names, hereby required to apprehend and bring before us Martha Corey, the wife of Giles Corey, above said, on Monday next, being the 21st day of this instant month, at the house of Lieutenant Nathaniel Ingersolls of Salem Village, about 12 of the clock in the day, in order to her examination relating to the premises, and hereof you are not to fail. Dated Salem, March the 19th, 1691-92.
That one has more substance than the other.
It's giving specific instructions on what to do.
What to do. It's a warrant for her arrest.
But
one is saying this complaint has been made. You're being accused of witchcraft, and then this person needs to bring her forth on this day. The end. But it's not. There's nothing.
Yeah,
you're a witch.
Did witchcraft. So
you did witchcraft.
Well, it's like sundry witchcraft. What does that
What does that even mean?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
All right, let's get into the hysteria of it all.
Okay, so maybe you can cover, because you might have more information about what they think caused this. Because there is mass hysteria is put out there, but there's other reasons too that are put out as theories. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm going to give you the definition of mass hysteria, but there was another theory about rye bread, which has been debunked, I believe, there's a fungus or something in it that can cause convulsions or sickness or whatever they were having.
Yeah, ergot can cause hallucinations, but it's also just plain toxic. And
right.
So if people were hallucinating, we would not be talking about, nobody would be having trials.
Right.
It would be an outbreak of a debilitating short-term illness with vomiting and cramping and seizures and all this. It would not be sustained.
Right.
This kind of thing. It would be a bunch of people getting really bad food poisoning that made some of them hallucinate a little bit for a couple of days. But people like a quick explanation that doesn't require a lot of reflection. And I think that's what the ergot thing was.
Right. So mass hysteria is a psychological phenomena where a group of people experiences similar symptoms or behaviors without an identifiable physical cause. This can include unusual thoughts, feelings, or health symptoms that spread rapidly among the group. It often stems from psychological factors rather than any infectious agent, leading to a collective response to perceived threats or stressors. Historical examples include events like the Salem witch trials, where fear and anxiety led to widespread panic and irrational behavior. And you had mentioned that those two girls got ill at the beginning in Parrish's house. Was it his children? And they tried everything they knew how to try.
Yep.
And nothing made them better. And then a doctor comes in and says, "Oh, they're bewitched." And we kick off the witch trials. So we could blame the doctor. But what I'm thinking is, you have the anxiety and fear that something is dreadfully wrong with your children, and we can all feel that. We're all parents. And then you try everything you know, and there's no good explanation for why your children are not getting better. And it could be that these girls were just, we don't know. We don't know what was wrong with them. We just know that a doctor came in and said, well, if I can't fix this, it must be witchcraft. And so mass hysteria followed. I think there became this, it's a social thing. It's a threatening thing. It's a frightening thing for people who are very religious, like the Puritans. It's like, let's blame whatever we can but ourselves. And it became this kind of hysterical response, panic response to what's going on. So the Salem witch trials is one that we've been talking about. But there is also a lot of other historical examples too, which I thought some of them are like, I laughed out loud at some of them, but then mostly I laughed because I thought about the reaction of the people around these people that were experiencing this. It's not funny that some of these people are experiencing this, but I can't even imagine the reaction. So In 1518 in Strasbourg, hundreds of people began dancing uncontrollably for days, with some reportedly dancing to their deaths.
What?
This bizarre phenomena is thought to have been triggered by stress and social influence, highlighting the power of mass suggestion.
Dancing plagues.
The dancing plague of 1518.
I think there have been a few of them.
There probably has. And in Strasbourg is known for its music. So, I mean, there's, I think, I don't know. Anyway, so that's very bizarre. I mean, think about the people watching your family members suddenly start dancing and not be able to stop. And that's very bizarre. The Tanganyika laughter epidemic in 1962, a contagious bout of laughter broke out in a girls' school in what is now Tanzania, spreading to neighboring villages. This incident forced schools to close and was interpreted as a case of mass psychogenic illness, likely triggered by stress. Now, we all know that laughter is contagious. I mean, if you start laughing, there's times when you cannot, I mean, you just can't. And then you think about it and you laugh again. So that I can see where this would have started with a couple of, I mean, finding something really funny and not being able to stop. And then when you look at your friend, you'd laugh again. And then, you know.
Can I bring in a North American one, a more recent type? That's sort of like the flip side of the laughter epidemic is phantom clowns.
What?
Oh, yeah, that happened recently.
Like
Yeah.
2016, right?
One of the clown scares happened recently, but there have been clown scares throughout like the latter half of the 20th century, right around the time clowns started becoming viewed as more creepy than children's entertainment.
Which is bad.
But yeah, I like a clown. I like both a funny clown and a scary clown.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can be both, right?
Yeah.
But when things fall out of fashion, they can then be perceived as creepy because the culture has changed. But clown scares are interesting because even before you had the internet, you had things like this. They would spread through school districts, through I think the Midwest and the Northeast. I think Chicago might have had a clown scare maybe around the time that John Wayne Gacy was arrested. I would need to dig back into the folklore, but clown scares are interesting because they spread so quickly.
Right.
That through a large area, like they can spread through a county really, really quickly. And it usually starts with a few like elementary school age kids reporting they saw a scary clown who tried to get them to go into a van or something.
Right.
And then it spreads through parents, spreads through children, and it can spread through a community at roughly walking pace.
Right. Like any rumor can.
Yeah.
Because that's all it is, really, at the heart. It's a rumor.
Yeah. And so they're interesting in folklore in terms of urban legends for the speed at which they spread, because it quickly becomes like, oh, parents have to warn each other that there might be someone out being creepy around the kids. Yeah. And so they spread like lightning. It's amazing. So anyway, I'm just saying maybe the laughter epidemic was because there was a clown. Oh. Nobody caught him.
Yeah, well, maybe. Okay, Harrison. Okay. So there was also in 1954 a windshield panic. Okay. In Washington State, residents panicked over supposed damage to their car windshields, attributing it to nuclear testing. Now, please remember, this is 1950. This led to widespread checks and a request for federal assistance, despite the damage being largely unsubstantiated. Again, rumor. Somebody said, "Dang, there's some scratches on my windshield." Oh, they're testing nuclear weapons.
I feel like it's not unfounded, right?
Well,
it's
depending
back
in
1954, we didn't know what we know.
We were doing nuclear testing in the 40s.
And it's a thing that makes you reasonably look at your windshield.
Sure.
Exactly.
And notice all the stuff. And so, I can understand people being...
rightfully nervous and In 1962, there was a textile factory incident. Employees at a textile factory reported being bitten by insects, leading to illness among many workers. An investigation revealed that most had not been bitten, and the incident was labeled as a case of mass hysteria. So they got itchy. And then, that spreads too. Itchiness kind of is like, or yawns, if you're yawning, it can spread. It's that power of suggestion. So my favorite one are the next two because they just made me laugh, mostly because I'm thinking of the reaction of the people around them. So in a historical case, nuns in a convent began to meow like cats, leading to a widespread outbreak of similar behavior among other nuns. This bizarre incident illustrates how mass hysteria can manifest in unusual ways. Now, I just want to know how this started. I just want to know who meowed first. And was it a joke? And were they a silent order? Oh. So they couldn't talk, but they could meow. And did they have like a code? Meow, meaning I'm hungry. Meow, I'm mad. I mean, let's...
Is it like cats that do like, isn't there a thing where cats do a pitch shift in the meow when they're meowing at a human that they don't do when they're meowing at other cats? Oh. Maybe it's like, man, when they're meowing at another nun. Right. And if it's one of the laity, it's like, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm telling you. It's like, I just kind of want to know. How that started. Then there were, in the 15th century,
a cat nun.
The newest superhero to accept from the DC universe. She can meow with the best of them. Anyway, so, that could go bad so quickly. There's another one. This might be the more DC hero, is the biting nuns of the 15th century. Yes, there were a group of nuns that bit people, and it started in Germany, in a convent in Germany. It spread to Holland. Now I'm not sure exactly what started that. I mean,
is it like werewolves? You get one nun bites another, and she goes back to Holland. And she's like,
oh, that was fun. Let me bite somebody else. I mean,
the convent bit me, and
I'm thinking there was a certain level of frustration amongst these nuns, and they just couldn't stand it anymore. So they bit somebody. And there are times in my life when I have wanted to bite somebody just because, you're mad and you're frustrated and like a 2-year-old. And so I just want to know how it spread, though. I mean, and what do you suppose the priest who's in charge of the convent in the nuns, our Mother Superior, all of a sudden she's getting complaints from other nuns that Sister Mary Margaret is biting me. I mean, there's a whole backstory here that I want to know.
It's like,
I want to know.
It is like the worst, like budget version of a werewolf or a zombie outbreak, where it's like, oh, I went to this German, conference, and I got bit, and now I feel like something's gonna happen. I was like, well, what's wrong? Are you transforming? Are you doing? No, I'm gonna bite you though. I'm still gonna bite you.
I don't like you.
And you're gonna bite people too.
Yeah, I mean, I have the need to know how this started. There's a couple other ones, but the last one that I wanted to talk about a little bit was the Pokemon panic in 1997. And I remember this because we were playing Pokemon with my children at that time. And in Japan, 700 children reportedly suffered seizures or related symptoms after watching a flashing light scene in a Pokemon episode. Few of them were genuine photosensitive epilepsy. So we're not making light of this at all, because I have a son who we think probably has some of the photosensitive epilepsy going on. But most were due to mass psychogenic illness where anxiety and suggestion led to physical symptoms. So, they are real cases, and they have a pattern to them. And this is from Britannica.com. The mass hysteria thrives in times of uncertainty, stress, and strong social influence. Scientific investigation is crucial for understanding these outbreaks, separating myth from fact, and offering compassionate responses. As modern society faces new challenges and rapid information spread, recognizing the psychological and societal roots of collective behavior is more important than ever. So, by staying informed and fostering critical thinking, we can reduce fear-driven responses and support healthier communities in the future. And I think it's interesting that how mass hysteria can rise from social pressure and from fear and collective behavior and its anxiety, all of those things. You know, there's something to seeing somebody who is struggling with the same things that you are, and how that can grow from being a good thing to find community and shared anxiety to being biting nuns.
and it's worth bearing in mind too when we talk about, you know, what mass psychogenic illness, I think, is the current term, or these situations where a bunch of people exhibit, you know, like the biting nuns and the laughter fits. You can have that mental image of a bunch of people just like losing it, just losing all inhibition and control, and like just blacking out and doing something really bizarre. But at the core of all of these, it's really about accepting a narrative, accepting it and going with it. It doesn't feel like you are engaging in a mass panic. Nobody's screaming or running or frothing at the mouth except for these 12-year-olds in Salem. But, you know, it can have all the normal forms of the society that you're in, just brought to bear on something that is irrational. And they can reflect the beliefs and the power structures and the prejudices of the communities in which they take place.
I wanted to end on a good note.
Yes.
Well, maybe not the end. Maybe we have more to say. But
No.
In August of 2021, it was thought that they had cleared all the names of those who were accused and judged for witchcraft, wrongly convicted witchcraft, I should say. And it was discovered that one of the names had been erroneously been overlooked. And so thanks to the work of a historian and the efforts of an 8th grade class in North Andover, Massachusetts, legislature was introduced to clear the name of Elizabeth Johnston Jr. So I thought that was very wholesome that this 8th grade civics class really, you know, spearheaded this effort to clear her name. So good job.
All right. Well, that wasn't too rabbit traily.
No.
It could have been.
Go deeper.
Oh, yeah.
I tried to hold back.
Yeah.
I have so much material, but I wanted to give an overview.
Well, hopefully we've given people a taste of it, and they can do an exploration of their own. You know, we never want you to accept our words as face value. We're always saying, check yourself, check your sources, check what we say. You know, that's how you think critically about things.
Come to the library.
Yeah, we got stuff. We got books.
I have a new YA book on this very subject.
Yep. Have we covered it? All right.
So I think we
I don't know what we're going to talk about next week. I can't wait for that.
Can't wait
that'd
to
be
find
great.
I can't wait to find out.
Goodbye.
The Free Bin is a production of the Toledo Public Library, which is part of the Lincoln County Library District in beautiful Lincoln County, Oregon. Writing by Cindy Bilek, Sophia Kahn, and Harrison Baker. Original music by Harrison Baker. Editing by Harrison Baker and Sophia Kahn. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect those of any organization they represent. Good night.